Well, praise the Lord and welcome to Daily Scriptures. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man has on the skin of his body a swelling, a scab, or a bright spot, and becomes on the skin of his body like a leprous sore, then he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons the priest. And the priest shall examine the sore of his skin and on the body. And if the hair on the sore has turned white, and the sore appears to be deeper than the skin of his body, it is a leprous sore. Then the priest shall examine him and pronounce him unclean. And if the bright spot is white on the skin of his body and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and its hair has not turned white, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the sore for 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the 7th day, and indeed, if the sore appears to be as it was, and the sore has not spread on the skin, then the priest shall isolate him another 7 days. Then the priest shall examine him again on the 7th day. Indeed, if the sore has faded, then the sore is not spread on the skin. Then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is only a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. And if the scab should at all spread over the skin, after he has been seen by the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen by the priest again. And if the priest sees that the scab has indeed spread on the skin, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, it is leprosy. When the leprous sore is on the person, and he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall examine him, and indeed if the swelling on the skin is white, and if the hair and has turned the hair white, and there is a spot of raw flesh in the swelling, it is an old leprosy on the skin of his body. And the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not isolate him, for he is unclean. And if the leprosy spreads out all over the skin, and if the leprosy covers all the skin of the one who has the sore, from his head to his foot, wherever the priest looks, then the priest shall consider, and indeed, if the leprosy has covered all of his body, he shall pronounce him clean who has the sore. It has all turned white, he is clean. But if the raw flesh appears on him, and he shall be unclean. And the priest shall examine the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is leprosy. Or if the raw flesh changes and turns white again, he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall examine him, and indeed, if the sore has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. Who has the sore, he is clean. If the body develops a boil on the skin and is healed, in the place of the boil there comes a white swelling or a bright spot, reddish white, then it should be shown to the priest. And if, when the priest sees it, it indeed appears deeper than the skin, and its hair has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. He has a leprous sore, which is broken out of the boil. And it is the priest, but if the priest examines it, and indeed there is no white hairs in it, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him for 7 days. And if it should spread all over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread, it is the scar of the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if the body receives a burn on its skin by fire, and the raw flesh of the burn becomes a bright spot, reddish and white, or white, then the priest shall examine it. And indeed, if the hair of the bright spot has turned white, and it appears deeper than the skin, it is leprosy broken out on the burn. Therefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there are no white hairs in the bright spot, and it is not brought deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him for 7 days, and the priest shall examine him on the 7th day, and it has at all spread over the skin. Then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread on the skin, it has faded. It is a swelling from the burn. The priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is the scar of the burn. If a man or a woman has a sore on the head or the beard, then the priest shall examine the sore. And indeed, if it appears deeper than the skin, and there is within it a thin yellow hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a scaly leprosy of the head or beard. But if the priest examines the scaly sore, and indeed it does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale 7 days. And I shall isolate the one who has scaled 7 days, and on the 7th day the priest shall examine the sore. And indeed, if the scale has not spread, and there is no yellow hair in it, and the scale does not appear deeper than the skin, he shall have shave him. But the scale he does not shave. And the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale another 7 days. On the 7th day the priest shall examine the scale, and indeed if the scale has not spread over the skin, and does not appear to deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. He shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scale should at all spread over the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the scale has spread over the skin, the priest did not seek for yellow hair, he is unclean. But if the scale appears to be at a standstill, and there's a black hair grown up in it, the scale is healed. He is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. If a man or a woman has a bright spot on the skin of their body, specifically white bright spots, but the priest shall look. And indeed, if the bright spots on the skin of the body are dull white, it is a white spot that grows on the skin, he is clean. But as for the man whose hair has fallen from his beard, he is bald, but he is clean. For whose hair has fallen from his forehead, he is bald on the forehead, but he is clean. And if there is a bald head or bald forehead or a reddish white sore, it is leprosy breaking out on the bald head or a bald forehead. Then the priest shall examine it, and indeed, if the swelling of the sore is reddish white on the bald head or his bald forehead, as appearance of leprosy on the skin of the body, he is a leprous man. He is unclean, and the priest shall surely pronounce him unclean. His sore is on his head. Now the leper, whom the sore is, his clothes shall be torn, and his head bare, and he shall cover his mustache, and cry, unclean, unclean. He shall be unclean. All the days he has the sore, he shall be unclean. He is unclean, and he shall dwell alone. His dwelling shall be outside the camp. Also, If a garment have a leprous plague in it, whether it is a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it is in the warp or woof of linen or wool, whether in leather or in anything made of leather, and if the plague is greenish or reddish in the garment or in the leather, whether in the warp or in the woof, or in anything made of leather, it is a leprous plague, and shall be shown to the priest. The priest shall examine the plague and isolate that which has plague 7 days. And he shall examine the plague on the 7th day. If the plague is spread in the garment, whether in the warp or the woof, in the leather or in anything made of leather, the plague has had active leprosy, and it is unclean. He shall therefore burn that garment in which it is the plague, whether warp or woof, in wool or linen or anything leather, for it is active leprosy, and the garment shall be burned in the fire. And as the priest examines it, and indeed the plague has not spread in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof, or in any made of leather, then the priest shall command that they wash the thing in which is the plague, and shall isolate it for another 7 days. Then the priest shall examine the plague after it has been washed, and indeed if the plague has not changed its color, though the plague is not spread, it is unclean, and you shall burn it in the fire. It continues eating away, whether the damage is outside or inside. If the priest examines it, and indeed the plague has faded after washing it, and he shall tear it out of the garment, tear out, whether out of the warp or out of the woof or out of the leather. But if it appears again in the garment, either in the warp or the woof or in anything made of leather, it is a spreading plague, and you shall burn it in the fire, that which is the plague. And if you wash the garment, either warp or woof, or whatever is made of leather, if the plague has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed a 2nd time, and it shall be clean. It is the law of the leprous plague in a garment of wool or linen, either in warp or woof, or in any made of leather, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. Psalms 25, 15 to 22. Turn yourself to me and have mercy on me, for I am desolate and afflicted. The troubles of my heart have enlarged. Bring me out of my distresses. Look on my affliction and my pain, and forgive of all my sins. Consider mine enemies, for they are many, and they hate it with cruel hatred. Keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in you. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait for you. Redeem Israel, O God, out of their troubles. Proverbs 10, 4-5. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the rich of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. Mark 3, 1-19. And he entered the synagogue again, and a man was there who had a withered hand. So they watched him closely, whether he would heal them on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, Step forward. Then he said to them, Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill it. But they kept silent. And when he had looked around at them and with anger, being grieved by the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. Then the Pharisees went out immediately, plotted with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. But Jesus withdrew with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him, and from Judea and Jerusalem, and beyond the Jordan, and those from Tyre and Sidon, a great multitude, when they heard how many things he was doing, came to him. So he told the disciples that a small boat would be kept ready for him because of the multitude, lest they should crush him. For he healed many, so that as many as had afflictions pressed about him to touch him. And the unclean spirits, whenever they saw him, fell down before him and cried out, saying, "You are the Son of God." But he sternly warned them that they should not make him known. And he went up on the mountain and called to him who those he himself wanted. Let's try that again. Verse 13. And he went up on the mountain and called to him those he himself wanted, and they came to him. Then he appointed 12, and that they might be with him, and that he might send them out to preach, and to have power to heal sickness and to cast out demons. Simon, to whom he gave the name Peter, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, to whom he gave the name Boanerges, which is sons of thunder. Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. And they went into a house. Thank you for listening, and we'll be with you next time.